Hello everyone and welcome to Varamore Things. Feel free to follow me and subscribe to see more of my content. Thank you, and I hope you'll enjoy the video. Hello guys and welcome back for another video. I am sorry if this took longer than expected, but I had technical issues while recording the previous league. Files were corrupted, so I had to play another league in order to be able to deliver this content. Thank you for coming back to check out another of my videos. I noticed that more than 90% of you are not subscribed to the channel, so please, I would really appreciate if you could press that subscribe button. It's free, and by doing so you won't miss any of my future content. Thank you again. So today we are playing one of the spiciest decks I've played so far, mostly based on IXALAN new cards, Souls of the Lost and the Ancient One. The deck is a Vengevine shell with the addition of these two new IXALAN cards that I instantly liked the very first moment I saw them in the spoilers. Basically, our game plan is to fill our graveyard as fast as we can, thanks to Hedron Crab and Supplier, to grow Souls of the Lost while enabling the Ancient One to be able to attack or block. Alongside that, we can trigger Vengevines, Hollow Ones and Ox of Agonas to help us fill the battlefield with big threats in a fast way. To secure the win, we run 2 copies of Wonder. While Wonder is in our graveyard, creatures we control have flying, so this gives some elusive angles to attack our opponent. In the sideboard, we run 4 copies of Leyline of the Void against other graveyard decks or just against the scam, 4 Tear Asunder against Leylines, Void Mirrors against Cascade, and the 3 Bitter Triumph, another new addition from the new IXALAN set to get rid of problematic threats, while discarding maybe a Vengevine or a Blazing Rootwalla. This league is going to be very interesting and I can't wait to share the results with you. So without hesitating anymore, let's jump into it. Match number 1, here we come. Match number 1, here we are. We mulligan, we keep a hand with a turn 2 Souls of the Lost into Blazing Rootwalla. Opponent is in You Are Murktide, playing Dragon's Way Channeler into Bubble. Nice start. Opponent passes back to us, drawing a card via Bubble. We draw a Walla, not bad. We crack the fetch land, tapped, and we pass the turn. We're keeping the Rootwalla in our hand because we really want to discard that to Goblin Lore on the 3rd turn. So this turn I might play Goblin Lore, trying to discard Rootwallas and play Hollow One, but the opponent of course has a Spell Pierce. Really nice start by our opponent, with both Ragavan, Dragon's Way Channeler and a Spell Pierce on our key card. Opponent even has an expressive iteration, of course, triggering Delirium, hitting us for 5 damage. We are already down to 10. Opponent of course is gonna have a counter spell to counter our Souls of the Lost. And opponent of course has a counter spell, because why not? We play the Rootwalla, that's something. We fetch for a basic mountain for another Rootwalla. But we are in a really bad spot, because the opponent has that flying Dragon's Way Channeler we really don't like. We trade to Ragavan and we take 3 damage. And we just decide to concede, because we really don't have anything to come back from this position. For as strange as this may sound, we don't really have a removal in the main deck, so we just decide to concede and go to game number 2. Game number 2, here we are. We boarded in a few cards and we boarded out 3 Hedron Crabs, 2 Street Wraiths, We boarded and an Ox. We boarded in 4 Leylines and Bitter Triumph. We start with the Leyline, pretty good start. Citrus Supplier putting an Ox in the graveyard is also very good. Opponent just Mishra's Bubble. We proceed to attack with the Citrus Supplier. Opponent takes 1. We play the Ancient One. Opponent probably has a Spell Snare, of course. Not bad from our opponent, and I was beginning to be very salty. Opponent probably has a counterspell. Of course opponent has a counterspell for our Souls of the Lost. I am really beginning to sound salty here, but that was incredible by our opponent. Well, as long as we have the Leyline of the Void in the battlefield, we have some time. Opponent, Dragon's Rage Channeler and Preordain. Another Preordain by our opponent. Gets exiled with Leyline of the Void. Opponent passes back to us. Leyline of the Void. Not really what we wanted. We attack with both Citrus Supplier and Rootwalla. Opponent takes the damage. I pump here, but I think I mispumped. Or in the wrong phase. Opponent plays Iteration and another Preordain. Things aren't looking great for us, but as long as we have the Leyline of the Void, opponent cannot really hurt us with a Murktide or with a big Dragon's Rage Channeler. So the race is ours as long as we have the Leyline in the battlefield. A Citrus Supplier is exactly what we wanted. Opponent cannot counterspell and we might be able to get the Ox into play and draw a few cards. Let's see if this resolves. As counterintuitive as this may sound, Ox is still a good card, because usually when we play Ox, this means we don't have Ancient One or Souls of the Lost in the battlefield. Opponent has a Bolt on the Ox, we don't care. Opponent blocks the Rootwalla, we also don't care. Opponent down to 9. We play a Goblin Lore, not discarding the Vengevine we wanted. We play the Ox again, now discarding both our Vengevines. Opponent seeks the Beast. Opponent plays a Breeding Pool. Plays a Questing Druid. Subtly bouncing herself just to trigger the Questing Druid, to be able to block a Citrus Supplier while surviving. We play an Ancient One. Our opponent counterspell, triggering the Questing Druid. We play another one, triggering both Vengevines. And I think this is game. Yeah, opponent concedes. So as you can see, we don't really need to have the Ancient One on the battlefield or Souls of the Lost, because we can also rely on Ox and Vengevine to close out games. But all of this was possible only because we had Leyline of the Void into play. 1-on-1, match 1. Let's check out game number 3. Maybe we can do this. This game was easy. So we mulligan, we don't have Leyline this time. Opponent starts off with a Dragon's Rage Channeler, but our hand is looking good. Good enough, I would say. We start with a Citrus Supplier, putting, of course, Souls of the Lost, Hollow One and Ancient One in the graveyard. Not really what we wanted, but this deck always feels like a Russian roulette, so we can't really control what goes in the graveyard, what we discard. So we are relying all the time on pure luck. Souls of the Lost, not bad. Discarding the Vengevine. And incredibly, this resolves. We pass the turn. Not sure why. Opponent fetches at the end of the turn. Bolting. Our face. Triggering Delirium. Opponent wants to erase. Opponent Expressive Iteration. Surveilling one with Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. Opponent exiles Ragavan. Opponent's attacking us for 3 damage. We take. And we go down to 10. We untap, we draw Leyline, which is not bad. We try the Burning Inquiry, baiting our opponent. And we now crack the fetch, grabbing a mountain, and playing the Goblin Lore. We have a Wonder in the graveyard, so we can block the Dragon's Rage Channeler on next turn. We also have a Vengevine in the graveyard that we can trigger on next turn. Opponents double and only hit on the Souls of the Lost. We don't really care. We block, triggering the Stitcher Suppliers. Let's see what's in our graveyard. We discard a Vengevine to Souls of the Lost. We play a Rootwalla, triggering 2 Vengevines, winning out the game on the spot, because the opponent cannot really do anything against a 14-15 flyer and 2 hasty Vengevines. Okay, we're down 1-0 in this league. Awesome start. Let's check out match number 2. Match number 2, here we are on the play. We keep pretty decent hand, I will say. Stitcher Supplier, passing the turn. Putting, of course, Olo1 and Hedron Crab in the graveyard. Opponent, Verdant Catacombs. What is the opponent playing? We discard a Street Wraith, drawing us a land. We play... Firstly, of course, we attack, because we cannot trigger any Vengevine, so... We play a Souls of the Lost, 6/7 for 2 mana, discarding the Ox. Pretty decent start. Opponent Refines Tower? What is the opponent playing? Opponent passes back to us. Stitcher Supplius. Powering up the Souls of the Lost. We attack. Maybe I misplayed here because you see the opponent flashed in Solitude, exiling Souls of the Lost. I could have probably played Ox of Agonas with the untapped Steam Vents. Opponent Godless Shrine. Okay. Teferi. Yeah, we love this. Crab. Triggering. We play the Ancient One, triggering a Vengevine. We attack Teferi and the opponent. Opponent's down to 12. Opponent takes 2. And here comes the One Ring, of course. We cannot really do anything. And I was afraid here that the opponent had Supreme Verdict. So that's why I didn't flooded my board with creatures. I was so afraid. Opponent has another ring, of course. Because why not? Opponent drawing his entire deck. We cannot do anything. We draw Steam Vents tapped. Milling us for 3. Another Ox in the graveyard. We pass the turn because the opponent hit another One Ring. Opponent losing 1 to the ring. Opponent draws 2 cards. Opponent fetches down to 7. Opponent has another ring? Okay, so... You know, in these situations, I tend to become very salty. because this is pure luck. No skill is involved in this place, and the opponent just had 3 rings, one after another, taking so many time walks, and I am sitting here doing nothing with my board just entirely ready to kill the opponent. Here comes the Hellish Norn, and here comes the Persist, reanimating the Archon. Okay, now I get what the opponent is playing. So we cannot even play an Ox because it won't trigger anything at all. I don't think I have a chance to do anything from here, because I mean I conceded. I can attack my opponent for 8. Opponent just takes damage, nothing happens. He swings back. I take 6. He draws 2. No, I couldn't have done anything. Let me check. I only have 1 Vengevine in the graveyard that I cannot trigger because I can play only 1 Ox. Maybe I could have played 2 Oxes, but by doing so I wouldn't have had enough cards to attack with the Ancient One. But even by triggering multiple Ox and reanimating a Vengevine, nothing would have changed, because my opponent, well, maybe I shouldn't have conceded, because the Archon attacking only triggers once. Hellish Norn doesn't double his ability when he attacks, but only when he enters the battlefield. While opponent could this turn would have drawn 3 cards. Of course, maybe Solitude plus Ephemerate. You know, there's just no reason, no point in going on in this game and try to win from this spot. I just conceded and proceeded on game 2. Game 2 against this Reanimator kind of deck. As for the sideboard, I think I forgot to bring in Leylines, and I brought in instead other cards, not as useful as I thought they would have been, and I boarded out 2 Street Wraiths and 3 Hedron Crabs and 1 Ox. So opponent of course has a Leyline, and I boarded in only 2 Tear Asunders and a Natural State, because I was expecting the Rest in Peace, not Leyline of the Void. So I think we are already pretty done. Opponent plays a Profane Tutor. I am trying to mill my opponent out with my Crab. Not the best game plan. I go with Burning Inquiry, hitting a Walla and another one. Well, that's something, but I'm sure this won't be enough. You see, this deck is very explosive, but also very fragile. 1 Leyline of the Void is often enough to put an end to the game, like instantly. If only I knew my opponent was playing Leyline of the Void, I would have brought in also the 2 Tear Asunders. And maybe Feed the Swarm could be a nice, sweet addition in the sideboard, or even in the main deck. Leyline Binding on Holo 1. Yeah, sure. I played the Wonder out of hand. Never happened before in my entire life. You see, the opponent has an Archon I put in the graveyard. That also was a very stupid move, I think. I tried to cycle the Holo 1, drawing a Rootwalla, and I decided to just concede. Because really no point from here to keep on fighting without my Tear Asunders in the main deck to get rid of the Leyline. And of course, opponent, I hit the Archon with my Hedron Crab, and I was stupid enough to do so. I wasn't thinking in the right way this game, and I mis-sideboarded. I committed a very huge mistake, I think. Well, 1-on-1, not that bad, not that bad. We were close to winning game 1, but the opponent hit 3 1-rings, one after another. So yeah, I am just so frustrated by this, but in the end it doesn't even matter, like someone said. Okay, let's check out match number 3. Here we are, match number 3 against the EY. We decide to keep this hand because we have a turn 2 Ancient One or a turn 1 Burning Inquiry. Opponent plays an island. Okay. Is the opponent playing Merfolk? Lorien revealed. Ketria Triumph. Okay, opponent is playing Cascade. We go Burning Inquiry, hit an hollow one, and we play that. We Street Wraith, we hit a land, we play a land and also Goblin Lore, Ox of Agonas and the Vengevine in the graveyard. We play the Crab, we play the Ox, we trigger the Vengevine. Our board state is very good. We attack with both Vengevine and hollow one. No, opponent just decides to concede because our board state was too big for him to deal with. Even with Rhinos, you know, he could have just plugged here hollow one and Vengevine, but Vengevine gas to the graveyard, and I have another Ox to trigger it, and Wander in my hand, a Street Wraith, so yeah, we were pretty ahead in this game. We started off really strong. Okay, I am happy, I am confident we can win this, so let's check game number 2. Game number 2, here we are. We boarded out 2 Hedron Crabs, 2 Street Wraiths, and 1 Ox. We boarded in Bitter Triumphs and Void Mirrors. Opponent Eyes. We play a Walla. We also have the Void Mirror ready for next turn. Opponent another Crushing Footfalls exiled. We attack with the Blazing Rootwalla, putting some little pressure on our opponent. We then proceed to just try and play Void Mirror. Maybe the opponent had Force of Negation, but we don't care. Opponent here decides to cycle his Boseiju and Endurance us. We just don't care. We kill the Endurance with Bitter Triumph discarding the Vengevine, hitting the opponent for 1, passing back to them. Opponent cannot cast the Crushing Footfalls, gets countered. So happy about that. We untap. We go Stitcher Supplier, milling us. Hedron Crab triggering a Vengevine. Opponent has another Endurance. Okay, this might be a problem. We pass the turn. We are paired to 15 HP. Crashing Footfalls about to land, but we have the Void Mirror. Opponent attacks, we take the damage. We play a Goblin Lore. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. We hit our opponent for 1. Opponent. Void Mirror, countering Crushing Footfalls. Oh my god, Tishana's Tidebinder. Oh my god. Oh my god, what an insane play. Okay, so as long as Tishana's Tidebinder is in the battlefield, Void Mirror won't counter opponent's Rhinos. Okay, opponent's attacks. Violent Outburst, okay. So we need... Okay, we can still win, but we need a mountain and a Rootwalla. Oh, we were so close! If this Blood Crypt would have been a fetch land either or a mountain, we would have won by playing the Blazing Rootwalla, triggering 3 Vengevines and attacking. No, we wouldn't have won because the opponent would have gone down to 1 HP, I guess. Yes. Oh my god, we were so close. 1-on-1. Game 3, guys. Everything will be decided on Game 3. Game 3, here we are on the play, because we lost. We keep a 1-lander, but we have Burning Inquiry. Hedron Crab and pass the turn. Opponent. Crashing Foothills. Okay. We go Burning Inquiry. We have so many interesting cards in the graveyard. 1 Vengevine. Okay, another Hedron Crab. Ox. Yes, we can trigger the Vengevine, sure. We're happy about that. Okay, Rootwalla, hollow one. Oh my god, what an insane turn 3 we just had. Opponent, Blood Moon. I don't really care. We trigger. We play another Ox. And the opponent just concedes because he cannot do anything against so much power on turn 4. While next turn he cannot have his Rhinos. Maybe he could have cascaded. But you know, both Vengevine and Ox can keep on coming back from the graveyard, and I also had Wander and another Vengevine in hand, so really inconvenient for my opponent to try, and he didn't know about that, of course, but you know, pretty useless for my opponent to try to win this game. I also had the Crab to fill my graveyard once more. So, okay, pretty interesting win, even under Blood Moon. I wouldn't have had sideboarded in Blood Moon if I were my opponent. I don't really care about Blood Moon, I would say. But, okay, that's fine. We are 2-1 in the league. Not bad for a brand new deck with brand new cards. Let's check out if we can at least go 4-1 or we will stop at 2 wins. Who knows? Let's check out match number 4. We lost the die roll. And we mulligan to 6. Sorry, we won the die roll. We got Burning Inquiry, hitting a Wander in the graveyard, pretty good. Rootwalla, and we pass the turn. Opponent is playing Scam, so I am already witnessing our defeat because they run Leyline of the Voids and Doughty Voidwalkers, and of course they have a turn 1 Scam. Of course, it's 100%. My god, I am so frustrated. This deck needs to go. This doesn't make any sense. This deck needs to go. Either Grief or Fury or whatever, this deck needs to go. Supplier hitting a few cards, nothing interesting. We are stuck on 1 lander. We attack the opponent, down to 16. Our opponent has a Fury, of course they have another one. And I just decided to concede because I don't really have anything in my hand, nor in the graveyard. So no point in trying to fight more than this. I don't really think we can do this, guys. Now they're bringing in Leyline of the Void. We are also bringing in Leyline of the Void and Tear Asunder, but you know, a turn 1 Leyline just probably kills us. Let's see what happens in game number 2 though. Game number 2, here we are. As I said, we boarded out Hedron Crabs, Street Wraiths, 1 Ox and 1 Burning Inquiry. We boarded in all the hate for Leyline, and of course the opponent has a Leyline. Opponent runs 3 Leylines. We run 4 and 4 Tear Asunder. Opponent didn't take a mulligan and had a Leyline. We mulliganed once. We haven't saw a single Leyline or Tear Asunder. So this was pure anti-statistic thing that happened here. And I am so unhappy about that. It's so frustrating. This has nothing to do with skill or ability. It's just pure luck. And I was being so salty in the chat against my opponent. I am sorry about that. But this just gets so frustrating. This gets on my nerves. You see, I cannot hit a Tear Asunder, I cannot hit a Leyline of the Void. Opponent just, without any issue, no mulligans, only 3 Leylines, and he hits the Leyline, of course. And also a Doughty Voidwalker, yeah, of course, because why not? And I just decided to concede because there's no point in playing this game anymore against this opponent. With not that after all, on Ragavan, creating so many treasure tokens, too much value, we cannot do anything about this. Okay, not so good of a game, and I think we are so bad positioned against the Scam. So if you think about it, there's not much point in playing this deck because Scam is like everywhere. Scam now has, according to MTG Goldfish, something like let me check the meta share of Rakdos Scam, 18% of meta share. This is insane. Oh, 21%, it went up 21% in the top 8 with more than 400 decks in the last month. The second one is Cascade Beans with 7%. So this is insane. This doesn't make any sense. Scam needs to go. But despite that, our deck performed well. We still have 1 game to play. We are 2-2, which is not bad for a new deck, new budget deck. Let's check what is going to happen in the final game. Can we at least close up 3-2, or will we just register a humiliating 2-3? Who knows? Let's check out. Here we are, match number 5. We won the die roll. We have a pretty decent hand. This is a bargain. If the opponent kills the Hedron Crab, we are done. If they don't, we can do something. So opponent has Island. We crack a fetch. We're milling ourselves. And of course the Ancient One and Hollow One are the first cards to go into the graveyard. We play a Souls of the Lost, exiling a Ox of Agonas. Opponent's Lorien reveals, grabbing a Steam Vents. What is the opponent playing? Cascade one more time? Is it possible? Okay, we are putting so many cards in the graveyard. We decide to attack. 12 damage. Opponent hasn't got a solution for our Souls of the Lost, which is so big of a creature right now. Opponent, yeah, probably playing Cascade, yeah. We put so many cards in our graveyard. We put so many other cards in our graveyard. We decide to play the Axe because we really want to discard those Vengevines. We don't really care if the Souls of the Lost becomes a bit smaller. And we hit a Stitcher Supplier, triggering 2 Vengevines. Opponent doesn't want to concede, seeing this board state. He surely is a brave guy. We attack, and the opponent, of course, Violence Outburst. Yes, he does. Revealing a Crashing Footfalls. Probably blocking Souls of the Lost and the Vengevine. Okay. We pass back to the opponent. Opponent doesn't draw anything interesting and just concedes. That was an easy win. Probably because we started off very wild thanks to the Crab and the many fetchlands we had, and Souls of the Lost uncontested. Okay, I'm happy about this. Let's check out game number 2. Pretty decent opening. So this time what we boarded in and what we boarded out was Void Mirror in and the Bitter Triumph, sorry, also in, and we boarded out Burning Inquiry, Ox of Agonas, Tear Asunder, Street Wraith, and Hedron Crabs. We started off with a Rootwalla, opponent stuck on one land. I don't know what the opponent is doing. We managed to play a Void Mirror. Opponent always stuck on one land, discarding a Fury. We attack with a Blazing Rootwalla, pumping for 3 damage, putting some pressure on the opponent, trying to resolve a Souls of the Lost, discarding an Ox. Opponent draws a Gemstone Cavern and just decides to concede, because probably he knew that if the Souls of the Lost stays on the battlefield uncontested, you can't do anything about that. By the way, we didn't have a good hand. Opponent probably didn't know about that, but Ancient One was pretty useless right now. Ox of Agonas with no fuel, also useless. Bitter Triumph, useless. So yeah, we had 5 damage on the battlefield right now, but not much else. So I'm sorry for my opponent. He decided to concede. Maybe he was frustrated and kept an end he shouldn't have kept. Well, 3-2, not bad. We had many other 3-2 with like fairies and humans. That's a decent result. Played against tire decks all the time, and this deck felt pretty solid. I am happy with the result. Okay guys, see you in the wrap up in a few seconds. Here we are for the wrap up. Okay, so I was very happy with the deck, but I already noticed that there are cards that really don't do anything, such as the Street Wraith, completely useless. So I would probably cut those Street Wraiths and play, I don't know, maybe Bitter Triumph main deck, or I don't know, some, you know, the Ox that deals 5 damage. I don't remember the name, the one that you discard a card when you play it for 1 red mana. That card is pretty good. And another problem I noticed is the mana base. Maybe if I could replace Hedron Crab, I could cut some of the blue lands and focus more on the other colors. Maybe I could cut one Stomping Ground and 1 Watery Grave and add more basic lands to not take so many damage from fetch lands. The number of lands felt good because we don't really need more than 2 lands on the battlefield unless we want to hard cast a Vengevine, but that wasn't the case in this league. As for the sideboard, Leyline of the Void is a must. You cannot really go out without that. Also Void Mirror is a must. I wasn't sure about Natural State. I wasn't sure about Bitter Triumph. It felt great when I played it, but not that great. I don't know. Yeah, it somehow enables Vengevine to go in the graveyard or Ox, so it's good, and also Wander. So it's really not bad, and get rid of both creatures and planeswalkers, so it's a great card. I was feeling the lack of something against burn. I mean, this deck is very fast, and if burn doesn't interact with us, maybe we can close the game faster than them. A big Souls of the Lost on turn 2 can often close the game on turn 4, but we do so much damage to ourselves, so maybe something against burn could be good in the sideboard. And also Feed the Swarm is a good card I would like to put in the deck, but I cannot find space right now. I will work on this deck further. Maybe I can cut the Ancient one. It really didn't do anything because the only time I had the Ancient one into play, the opponent just conceded, or we couldn't attack him due to the Wandering on the battlefield. So yeah, this is a first version of the deck. I hadn't got much time to test it out. This is my first league with the deck. 3-2 is not bad. We lost to a super lucky guy with 3 wings in a row, and we lost to Rakdos Scam, which is a disgusting deck, and the opponent was really lucky. Of course, every single Rakdos Scam player in the world is lucky, and this guy was also pretty lucky, and we weren't, because we couldn't hit our Leyline of the Voids or Tear Asunder. So yeah, that's it. Okay guys, that's all for today. Sorry once more for the delay of the content. I want to keep on posting like two videos a week, but lately I've had some technical issues. Sorry about that. I will keep on posting and keep you updated on what kind of content you want. Check out my polls on YouTube, where I usually ask what kind of videos do you want to see next, and a poll will surely go up in the next few days. So check it out. Okay guys, thank you once more for watching my videos. I love the community that we are creating together. I love the interactions we have in the comments and in the Discord channel. I am so happy about that. I know that every single time I keep on thanking you for all of this, but this means really so much to me. This is like a dream coming true. Really. I know this may sound odd or whatever, but this is a dream to me, and I am so happy. We almost hit 200 subscribers in 1 month, and this is an insane result for me, and I am so happy, so over the top. My head is just flying around. I am so happy about that. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye. You guys are the best.